Hi everyone. So last week we were covering evolution, and this week we're going to cover evolution and behavior. Yes. So the question is, can evolution work on behavior? Okay. And so, for example, communication, cooperation, conflict. So what do you see here? Yes, wolves. Yeah. And what are they doing? Okay, howling. So, could evolution by natural selection work on this particular behavior? And the question is yes or no. Well, we have a whole chapter on it, so yeah, we're probably thinking it does. Okay, so let's take a look. So, behaviors or traits that can evolve. So, this idea that does happen. How about cooperation? Do animals work together? These wolves, as they're howling, do they work together? If you think about our area, we have coyotes in the area. If you've ever heard them howling, what are they doing? Are they cooperating? Are they, working together for a kill, right? So how are they working? Selfishness, altruism, selflessness. Like, can animals be selfless? And is that an evolved trait? And then lastly, sexuality, evolution, behavior, and sexuality in the animal world. And then communication. All right, so we would say, let me move me out of the way here. So we would say that behaviors or traits that can evolve, right? So you see this monkey on the branch getting to the middle. The watering hole is a dangerous place to be. But if you can get on the branch, get in the middle, now you're away from predators. Well, is that a learned behavior or is that an innate behavior? So behaviors can fall into two categories: innate and learned. Okay, so innate, what does that sound like? They're born with it, right? Learned, they learned it either from other monkeys or from their parents, or where did they learn it from? And are there certain behaviors that are more easily learned because there's some type of evolutionary connection? All right, so behaviors have adaptive value, just like other traits. So you see these little guys playing with mud and so on, if you've ever made like mud cake or whatever. And, are there some behaviors that help us survive? For example, humans, we love sweet food. We love food high in fat and sugar. Why is that? Is there an evolutionary adaptation? And we would argue that yes, there is, because food that is full of sugar, full of fat, has tons of energy. And if you think of our ancestors foraging, looking for food, if they develop the taste for stuff that tastes really sweet, that means there's more energy in there. Or fat, there's more energy in there. And we can actually do studies on that, and we can see that. It says in controlled experiments, humans exhibit preference for sugary foods high in fat, and the more fat, the stronger the preference. So there's an actual evolutionary relationship there. Here we see this crab, right, getting the mussels. Shore crab feeds on a mussel. Shore crabs preferentially choose mussels that provide the most energy relative to the effort that it takes to get. So why is that? Why do species have taste preferences, right? It says feeding choices directly influence fitness. So what we eat and what we like is directly tied to survival, okay? Living and reproducing requires energy. Maximal extraction of energy, acquisition of nutrients, natural selection can shape feeding, right? Because just being alive requires energy, and we want to be efficient. So how does evolution have to do with survival? And if you survive, you pass on those traits. And how does the population change over time, right? This idea of natural selection. So behavior, what is it? And again, we're talking about animals, but we can talk about humans too. Encompasses any and all of the actions performed by an organism, often in response to its environment or the actions of another organism. So again, natural selection, looking at the environment and how does the environment shape us and shape our behavior. Feeding behavior is only one of many behaviors influenced by natural selection. So, conflict, aggression, territoriality. You know how some animals are really territorial? How does evolution have anything to do with that? Cooperation, alliance building, sociality. Are we social animals? Absolutely, completely, totally. Okay. Competing for food, avoiding predators, migration, behavioral control of body temperature. Courtship, mating choice, pair bonding, fidelity, breeding, parental behavior, communication, learning. So this idea of behaviors, they can be innate or they can be learned. So in the book, they're going to talk about innate behaviors, okay? Nearly all physical traits of organisms are the product not only of genes, but also environment. For example, okay, so innate behaviors, you can think of instincts. So look at this goose, okay, the goose has this retrieval pattern and it will do it regardless of what if it's an egg, if it's something else, it'll do this. So the goose is born to do this. Here, these are these fish called stickleback fish. During mating season, they get really red, and when they get red, they get really aggressive and they get territorial. And what researchers have shown is they will do this towards anything. For example, they had an aquarium with these fish and a red truck passed by and the fish get all, aggressive. So triggered under certain conditions require no learning. Nobody taught these fish to do this. It's innate. They're born with it. So it says component does not vary. So all stickleback fish do this. Once started, runs to completion. All right, some behaviors must be learned, okay? So the egg retrieval, the aggression with the red are innate. Nobody taught the fish, nobody taught the goose how to do that. But some behaviors must be learned, and some are learned more easily. Think of humans, okay? I don't know if you guys have kids. I know some of you do, some of you don't. You really don't have to teach kids language. They pick it up. So humans, little human brains they're like sponges for language. Versus for other animals, it's very difficult to get other animals to learn language. Some animals can learn language, but it's much harder than it is for humans. So some behaviors must be learned, and based on evolutionary history, some are learned easier than others. Okay, so involves behaviors that are altered and modified over time in response to past experience. Tremendous variation among behaviors. Some are easy to learn, others are not. So what are some examples? Primates, right? Fear of snakes appears not innate but learned. So monkeys are afraid of snakes. They don't do it instinctively, okay? But they learn it, and they learn it very fast. Okay, so let's look. Here's a wonderful picture, right, about learning and prepared learning. This is figure 9-5. It says, before exposure to fear of snakes, a captive monkey will reach over the plastic snake for food, okay? Then, if the monkey sees another monkey being afraid of a snake, or even if you show the monkey a video, right? And then you try it again, now the monkey expresses fear of a plastic snake. So it learned from another monkey to be afraid. And that, we would say, has an adaptive quality, right? Because snakes can harm monkeys, right, in trees. So they have to learn, and then the easier they learn that, the more adaptive, right, for survival. It says a monkey quickly learns the fear of snakes if sees another monkey express that fear. So, yes, so prepared learning behaviors are learned easily by nearly all individuals. So snake fearing in monkeys, acquisition of language in humans, those would be examples of learned behaviors. Okay, I'm gonna skip that question. Okay. Now, how about babies? How about human babies? What we learn is human babies learn to fear snakes rather easily. Human babies do not learn to fear guns very easily. Why is that? Okay, human babies quickly and easily develop a fear of snakes, yet they don't easily develop a fear of guns. Why? Why? I'll let you think about that. Maybe that could be a discussion question. That sounds good. All right. Complex appearing behaviors don't require complex thought in order to evolve. Okay. For example, sex and having sex, are animals thinking, I must maximize my reproductive success? No, they're not. Okay. Okay, no. So an example of this, egg retrieving, okay, naturally occurring fixed action pattern. When an egg rolls out of the nest, a goose retrieves it, exactly the same every time. And researchers, right, being who they are, they use, instead of an egg, they use a soda can. Well, the goose retrieves any object, and the goose retrieves the largest egg, right? So setting up a situation that would never occur in nature, we can reveal that an animal is following simple behavioral rules, okay? That's an innate behavior. All right. So, can animals be cooperative? Can animals be selfless? Okay. Now, you guys, this week, you're going to be watching a video with Darwin and what Darwin thought. And Darwin thought, survival of the fittest. And the idea behind survival of the fittest is this idea that life is hard. Okay. If you look at the animal kingdom, it's not, nice, friendly. It's dog eat dog. It's, predator and prey. It's a harsh world. Okay. So based on that, when researchers saw animals being nice or being kind to other animals, they were like, wait a minute, this is not making sense. Darwin said, it's a rough dog eat dog world. How come the animals are being nice to each other? So for a brief instant, they thought, well, maybe Darwin was wrong, right? If we see altruism, if we see animals being kind, there must be something else going on. But when they further looked into it, they saw it truly was being selfish, okay? So cooperation, selfishness, and altruism can be better understood with an evolutionary approach. So here's this ground squirrel, right? And the ground squirrel is making an alarm call. They make this call if there are predators around, okay? So imagine ground squirrels doing their thing and a predator's flying. Well, one of the squirrels risks its life, makes this alarm call saying, warning, warning, everybody hide. Well, when it does that, it's like a target on its back, right? It's telling the predator, here I am. So researchers were going, wow, why would a squirrel do this? Okay. Well, it can be explained. Okay, so let's see. Apparent altruism towards relatives can evolve through kin selection. So here, okay, here's the squirrel actually doing this alarm call. The blue and the blue, these are relatives. Okay, when I say that, now it's making more sense. Okay, it says at great risk to herself, a calling squirrel. A female. Usually it's a female. Okay, so then, and usually it's an older female. So if we say it's a female and an older female, it's like, let's think about it. Why would an older female risk herself? Does it have anything to do with helping her progeny, right? And if it's that, is it truly selfless? Okay. So it says at great risk to herself, a calling squirrel frequently is killed. A female building ground squirrel will make an alarm call in response to aerial predators. 80% of the squirrels making the call are older females. They have more relatives in a colony than males and young females. So if they have more relatives in the colony, in reality, she's being selfish because she doesn't know this. She doesn't do this on purpose, but she's actually protecting her genes, which are found in her babies and her progeny or her relatives. Making an alarm call seems like a bad idea, but because the caller protects many of her relatives, the alarm calling behavior is favored by natural selection. So we see that. Now, what researchers did, and this sounds horrible, is they've taken a squirrel and put her in another colony with other animals that have no relationship to her. And then they wondered, will she do it again? Guess what? Will she do it again? Yes, she does. Okay, so she's not thinking about this. This is not conscious. Researchers transplanted an older female to a new colony. She had no relatives there, but still made the alarm calls, revealing that animals may sometimes follow simple behavior rules. Okay, we're gonna stop here. I'll go back to these. Right, this spider. It says the mother spider actually being selfish, not altruistic, when she lets her offspring eat her alive. Ooh, da 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 da. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and stop here.